Here we go. It's the Cop-Eye Podcast.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Cop-Eye Podcast. We're live once again. I was going to say, what are we? Wednesday afternoon? Yeah, Wednesday afternoon. It's Mick and Kristian. Once again, Kristian, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Wednesday, not far from tomorrow when I start my travels over to Liverpool. Obviously, I'm going to go with the train to Arlanda, which is the airport outside Stockholm, and wait there for a few hours, in the middle of the night. And then I expect you to just, welcome me in the morning when I land. So, yeah, it's not too bad, actually, having a holiday and a weekend to look forward to. So, all good.
Yeah, Friday morning, whiskey and a coffee, 8 a.m. That's Kristian's ideal, isn't it?
Yeah. That's my when I fly into England, because it doesn't take it that long. It takes like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I always have a coffee and a whiskey on the flight at least, and maybe I can. But then it helps. I know coffee is for not sleeping, but it kind of helps me. Coffee and whiskey, just to maybe sleep for an hour or something on the plane. So yeah,
bit of caffeine, and then if you have a coffee, you have a whiskey, the whiskey will help you sleep, and then the caffeine will just kick in. If you have half an hour, 40-minute nap, then you're ready to go.
But that's the thing as well. Like, I always have a coffee, and then I say, ask me if I want ice with my whiskey. But I said, no, I'm going to have the whiskey in my coffee.
Oh, yeah. The best combo. The best combo. I've got a few peeps in the chat. Aiden is in. Nice one, Aiden. Paul's in as well. Nice one, Paul. Lee as well. Nice one, Lee. 1892 Reds podcast lads are in as well. Nice one, lads, for jumping in. Need to get you back on the show, lads. It's been a while. I'm still trying to get the quiz sorted as well. Don't worry, that'll be sorted soon, hopefully. And then we've got Dom's in as well. Nice one, Dom. How's things? Yeah, all good. One step closer to Friday, one step closer to Saturday with the match. So yeah, looking forward to it. Yuki's in as well. Good morning. Kristian is so fancy. Coffee emoji. You're fancy apparently, lad. What you make of that?
Nah, I'm not. I like to go to all the worst pubs where the worst toilets and floors and sticky floor. I love them places. Yeah, I don't go to fancy places. I might come across like someone like that, but it's not me actually. I just love the rough stuff.
rough and ready. That's what Kristian wants. Kristian wants the pints. I mean, some of the pubs you go to are decent anyway. Ant's in as well. Afternoon, lads. Nice one, Ant, for jumping in. But before we get on to Derby, it was funny because we were doing that show. What day was it? It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before, weren't it? And we were discussing Champions League draw and Spurs. And Kristian's on the beer for the people that are listening later on today. We were discussing the Spurs and the Champions League draw, and then literally as I pressed end broadcast on here, we were like, right, nice one, speak to you later. And then you were like, have you seen this news about FSG wanting to sell? And I was like, shut up. And then we had like probably another half an hour, and I was like, I wish we could have just pressed like record again and started again. But it's been a bit mad, all this, hasn't it? What have you thought? I mean, it's probably best that we're doing it now because we've had time to read stuff and all that, haven't we? So
yeah, well, now when you look into it, after you had some information, because first, like you said, when we pressed ending the broadcast, and we read it, and it would just say FSG put Liverpool up for sale. That was it. But when you read into it a few minutes later, half an hour later, there was like different stories about just looking for investors who could help to increase the money, if you like, just to be able to invest in players and help out in that competition against the teams like City or Newcastle in the long term. But then it came another information saying they were up for selling the whole club and all that. So I'm not still sure what's going to happen. But if they are just looking for investors who can help out to put some money in, I'm happy with that, to be honest. I like FSG. I know people, looking to say FSG out because of this and that. They don't invest as much. But, I look at the whole picture, and they helped us out with the stadium, made that brilliant. They helped us out with the area around Anfield as well. They helped out with the accent. People can talk about, if they use their own money or the club's money, but in the end of the day, they are the owners who make sure these plans are happening. And they have bought great players in the past. I think they should have invested more lately to help Klopp, build on our success. I'm not saying they are, they are not without any faults, because they are as well. And the Super League thing was all shite, and they apologized for it and all that. But I just like the way they run a club healthy. We make sure we are a healthy business, if you like, because that's the way it is today with football. I don't really like, saying business, but that's what we are. But instead of having someone who just, gives you money and you don't know where the money comes from, dodgy places, or where, even, with some sponsorships that you don't know if it's actually real or not. They are just put in there just to make sure money is pumped in and all that. I just don't like it, and that's my opinion. That's the person I am. I don't know about you, Mick, but I just hope that if they sell the whole club, it goes to someone who is still, people have said on Twitter saying, billionaires, there will be, blood money or dirty money, whatever, wherever they come from. But, there are different levels of it, if you like. There might be some dodgy stuff, but as long as it's not actually from places where human rights are not concerned, and all that kind of stuff, I just don't like it. And that's me.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty, isn't it? Because I put a poll up on Copite, just saying just to see what people are thinking, like in the heat of the moment. Like, do you want someone who's morally? I don't think there's a morally fine billionaire or whatever, because there's surely got to be some section of that they've probably done in like a fucking mad way, but. And I think the poll got people just want, it was either morally fine or shitloads of money, and it was 56% shitloads of money, which that's what we all want at the end of the day. To be fair, that's what we want. We want loads of money. And just gonna look, I saw a comment from Dom before. Dom says we need huge investment. We cannot afford for this to go wrong and fall behind. I think that's the point people have been making. When you look in hindsight, when we've won the Premier League and whatever, and it's the investment wasn't there, but we were still world class, so we can carry on in the same vein of form, so to speak. But I think it's those incremental bits of money that we needed in those spaces potentially. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. You can say that now and say that that you should have done that, should have done this, but maybe those little signings just peppered through a little bit more, especially midfield area as well, because we've got a massive gap now between first team is getting towards 30 and Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones being 21 and whatever. So we need a few, like Dom says, a huge investment in the midfield area to get those world stars in, if whether it's a Bellingham or whether it's someone who's 23, 24 and they're about to hit the peak, because Liverpool have been great at that over the years of getting players right at that sweet spot just before they burst into what they're going to be. The likes of Jota is a perfect recent example. Diaz, perfect example coming in, and they can then be took onto the
Konate as well.
Konate,
you got
loads.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's the thing, though. That's what I like with FSG, because we have used money and been able to actually pay for players that have been clever investments in terms of what they cost, but also what they got in talent and what they can provide in a long term, like Jota, Diaz, Konate. We look back. I know it's a further back. We look back at the free signings of Matip and James Milner, which is probably two of the best free signings in the world history of football players that have actually given. Matip came as someone who's made his name in the Bundesliga in Germany, and he was good then, but he was not considered one of the best, even if he had a good reputation. But he came to Liverpool, and Klopp, made. I know he's was injury prone and still is, but Klopp made him into a really, really good centre back, and he's won everything for us. And when he was not playing, we complained, we need Matip and stuff like that. So in terms of just actually getting the recruitment right there, around players with not too much of a cost. And obviously we used the Coutinho money to buy the expensive ones like Van Dijk and Alisson, because that was clever business. I just like the way we have done things. I understand we cannot do it every time. We cannot tick the right box every time, and we might need more money to, like Klopp said, we need to make more of a risk and a chance in the transfer markets. We need that kind of opportunity to actually go forward. But I just think if they look for investors who can actually help out with that, I'd rather have FSG still as owners, because I just think they're healthy owners. Do you know what I mean with when I say that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's the morally fine argument, isn't it? And I think the only problem is when you speak to people about this on social media, it's like if someone's FSG out and you say something partially positive about, like, and FSG have done shitloads wrong, we all know that, but they've done some good things as well. So they take an FSG out person will then take you as an FSG in person. It's like, I don't think anyone's been FSG in. I mean, I was speaking to you just before, like, about like the Redmen done a show with Neil from the Anfield Rap, and it's like he made a good point. Like it's more, there's a grey area to everything. Like you're not just like in or out. And ideally, you don't want to even care about who your owners are. Like you want your owners to be there and backing the team and whatever. But you don't want to like be speaking about them often. You just want them to be there just to kind of guide the team and like provide finances and whatever. So I just feel like, yeah, we could do hours on this, because it's like you can discuss all different like parts of FSG and whatever else and who you want. But Ant says, do you think us being sold further down the line? Do you think we're being sold further down the line than we think? And apparently, like, this has probably been in the works for a while, I reckon. But I don't know when it's going to happen. But it could be ages, couldn't it?
Yeah, and it's also more if it's if it's a full sale, or if it's actually selling parts of the ownership. You know what I mean? Like investors comes in and we can buy the stocks and so much in percentage and all that kind of stuff. I don't really care about that, as long as they find someone who can actually say, if they say, yeah, we bought these people in who can help us to increase money wise to play to pay for pay the price for the players that the price are today, with Bellingham's or whatever. I know that is top level, but to actually know that if you're gonna have quality, you have to pay the money for it today. That's just the way it is. I just don't want to be Newcastle or Man City. It's not just about having loads of money. It's where the money comes from and how they make things around it. I just don't want it, because that's my personal morals as well. I don't want Liverpool to be connected with a state that could actually punish someone with death for being homosexual, if you like. And I'll take it that far now. It might not just happen, every day, but that's the laws in those kind of countries. And you can't do this and you can't do that. And, against women and all that kind of stuff. And I know there's loads of things around that, but to put it down in a context, it's from countries where I don't think they are actually having the human rights in the way I believe. And being a supporter of a football club with all the things we actually stand for as a club, and with Klopp as a manager and a person as well, because he's a very moral person, if you like. He's been talking about things. He seems to be a person with loads of thoughts, but he kind of holds it into himself because he can't speak of it in this kind of position that he is. But I just think it might be hard for him to be a manager for a club where having owners where the money comes from places like that. That's just my thought of it, because he's more one of us. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
that's going to be the difficulty for Klopp at some point, because if that happens, and the thing is, like, everyone can talk as much as they want up until the sale happens. But like if FSG, if they get a bid for what they want, I don't think they're going to be bothered about who it is, to be honest. I think that's the problem we might have. It'll be if it gets leaked, which it probably will, who it's going to be and whatever else, and then like we find out what's going on with the money, where the money comes from. That's when things will start getting nasty. But I don't think FSG are going to be bothered. They're just going to want the money. The businessmen, at the end of the day, they're going to want the highest return on the investment that they've made. They bought the club for what, 350 million. They're going to probably get 4 billion for it, which is like
or even
crazy, probably more. Yeah. So, and then Lee says, if it's just investment, fine. Don't want to end up belonging to anyone from a really dodgy regime or being called Red Bull.
Exactly. That's not us, and it's never been us. And that's the thing. I like the way, I'd rather have less successful years, but doing it the right way, because we've done that before so many times anyway. With the ups and downs. We got Champions League 05. We have won some trophies in between, and then obviously now with Klopp we have a great success and won every trophy. I saw someone posting something on Twitter, in Swedish, saying, he said, I'd rather play in the Championship than have owners that come from a dodgy regime, like Lee says, and I would agree. I don't want it. I rather just follow my football club as long as it's doing things right in a moral way, because I think that's important today in the world overall. I just think you need to. I don't want to go into it too much, but it's like the World Cup in Qatar now. I can't be bothered, because I think it's so wrong, and it was given to them in a dodgy way as well. There's so many things and so many people in high positions today with money. They just do things wrong, and no wonder this world is kind of fucked.
Well, like you see people on Twitter, like, and they're like, well, their argument is we need to go that way. And I saw a tweet yesterday saying this: we need to get someone in like that, because that's the only way we can compete with City. And that's the difficulty, because I saw a comment from Don before. There's so many teams around us competing on and off the pitch. I'm happy with the FSG doing this. They know they can't compete, shake hands and say good luck. Yeah. That's the thing. That this is obviously on the back of this season, the way it's been going. Klopp probably asking for money. He mentioned a couple of weeks ago saying we'd have ideally have liked to have strengthened in a certain position, which we know is midfield, but that wasn't happening. He's also said before in the past that he doesn't hold the purse strings, the owners do. So, and we all know Klopp likes a tight knit squad and whatever, but we're in different levels of competitiveness these days. Like Man City have took it to new levels in terms of what they're doing. Newcastle are going to be doing the same in the coming years. They're doing well this season as well. So yeah, just let us know in the comments what your thoughts are, if you're watching live or if you're watching later today or you're listening on Spotify or whatever. But we're going to leave it there, because we could do all afternoon, and there's a load of comments that I want to get through as well. Kristian, have you got anything else you want to add quickly? Or
no, I'm just gonna stand with my opinion and say I'd rather have a FSG and finding investors that are like them. If they can find someone they are already connected to, or they know who are like them, who can actually put some money in as well, share the ownership if you like, or to compete more, that's fine. But I don't want to be Man City or Newcastle, because that's not Liverpool for me. That's not the city. That's not the people. The club has always been a club of beliefs and morals and stuff. So I just think that that if that would happen, so many things for me emotionally would be taken away, and I would find it actually hard to feel that connection that I do today with Liverpool, and that would be the biggest problem for me, because it's such a big part of my life. So
yeah, and that's it. It's difficult, because you want to go on Twitter and express stuff, and that you used to be able to do that, and used to be able to have debates with people, but you can't do that. You can't do that these days, and that's why I don't mind doing it on these shows, because it's we're usually, there's boss people in the live and in the live chats, and there's like-minded people in the comments, and people that the feedback we had on audio platforms is pretty much the same. So you've got to, like I always say, you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people, because otherwise you can go a bit mad. You can actually go a bit crazy if you're reading the actual opposite of what you believe. I think it makes you go a bit mad.
The thing is, I don't mind in discussion and argument if people can actually come up with an argument that can explain their views or opinions in a way that, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with you, and you leave it there. Exactly. But sometimes people you say, I just want money. Or I just they don't have any facts or any kind of ways of explaining why they think the stuff, and that's what makes me really angry. They just let's there's nothing more. It's okay.
And at that point, I've seen you have a few. I was messing about with you before, calling you the keyboard warrior, having chats with people on Twitter. But
that's what I do.
But it's, you can discuss it, whatever. But sometimes you might as well bang your head against the wall, because.
Yeah, so someone said, sorry for keeping on talking about this, but just just give me another minute. But I just posted something about when there was rumors about something about the state of whatever Dubai was, putting an offer in or whatever. And I just, Googled stuff, read stuff, and I was like, their laws in the, what is it called? What is it called in English? The United Arab Emirates. What is it called?
United Arab Emirates.
Yeah,
UAE.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Dubai is like in whatever. Yeah, and I just Googled stuff about their laws and human rights, and it was shit. I just checked stuff, and they would say, they got the death penalty for homosexuals. So they actually, if you like leave in your religion beliefs, it's a death penalty. I don't say they actually execute it or use it, but it's in their law, and that just says everything for me. And they had the, how women also have to cover themselves up, how they can't do this and that. It's just like, who want to be, I understand there must be some, issues to be actually living in those countries, or might not, but just the way I look at it and I read it, and people said to me like, "Oh, you just talking a lot of shit that you don't know anything about." But I said, it's there in front of me on the, on all the links I clicked on. That says it. It might not be that it happens all the time, but it's in the law. And that's it for me. If they have them kind of beliefs to actually, you can't be like in the same gender in my country, because then you can be punished with death. Okay, that's it for me. We in 2022 to leave your Stone Age beliefs behind and go with how the world works today, and stop being, like that. And then I explained that for someone, they were like, "Oh well," they couldn't say more.
Okay. Well, this comes back to my argument that I don't get involved on Twitter, because it's we've done 21 minutes of FSG there. I think that's enough for anyone. But I'm just going to go through the comments, because there's been loads. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at the minute. So if you're on Twitter, jump over and get in the comments, because I don't think you can put comments on Twitter. I think you used to be able to, but I don't think you can anymore. Clinton Vella on Facebook says, "I once heard from a businessman that the best time to sell your business is when your business is doing really well." Don't understand business myself, but I think that makes sense. It does. I think it ties into what Don was saying before. Like, they've got us to a point, and then we crack on. And says, apparently Newcastle fans are going to protest against the owners. Mad, considering we're literally running around celebrating. Yeah, Pan of Scouse says, "Afternoon, fellas." He agrees with you. That's a first, everyone. We've got a comment agreeing with Kristian. That's a first.
Cheers. Yay.
And says, "Chris is spot on." JJ says, "Crazy big business, and will be ashamed to belong to people who have no morals and care for basic human rights. Personally, I'd hate it." Yeah, so ideally
my team as well.
Yeah. Well, ideally, we all in a perfect world want owners who are going to be basically FSG with money. That's what we want, isn't it? We want someone who's, I mean, FSG are probably involved in dodgy stuff, and I've seen some stuff like on Twitter again, like dodgy stuff that they've been involved in, and it's like you don't know if what's true, and like it just blurs. You don't know what's true and what's not anymore. It's just
yeah, that's the thing as well. But I think there's, like I said, it's different degrees in hell. There's some things that might be a bit dodgy. You'd be like, "Oh, that's not good." But there's some things that you just can't stand behind. In my opinion, that's just like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah. Well, like, there's questionable stuff, and then there's like downright like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. Aidan says, "It's hard when FSG have done good stuff and bad stuff, but sometimes the grass isn't green on the other side. I want to keep morals, but the next stage is hard. Personally think FSG have done." Is that meant to say are done, Aidan? Let me know. And says, "If we get taken over by a state, throw all the trophies in the bin. It's a new club." Yeah, well, I don't even want to think about that, to be honest, right now, because I think that's like that is just.
But I agree though, because Liverpool is so much a club that has so much history and people and morals and beliefs and stuff. You're back to early days and Shanks and the person he was. He would hate if that happened. And I just think that some supporters to other teams can say and think what they like, but there's something about Liverpool that is special when it comes to this kind of questions, because we've been through, all this bad, horrific stuff with Hillsborough and Hazel and other things that happened. We got we got things in our history that also, it's so much more down to how who we want to be, and how we are as fans and the people and all that kind of stuff. It's so much more than just having new owners to invest money in players. There's so much more to care about, and people don't seem to understand that.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. JJ says, I prefer to comment here. I'm sick of being banned on Twitter. Let's have a look what else we've got. Panoscaus, nice one for jumping in, says, all I wanted was for FSG to invest a little bit more at the right times when we needed players to replace players, etc.
Exactly.
And I would have been happy. Exactly. We all would have been happy. Comes back to the genie, we should have replaced genie stuff, like people were saying, and then like people saying, well, will you sign Thiago? It's like we moved on in a way that we moved in a different direction. I think like midfielders that actually influence the game and stuff. So
they did.
I don't know if that was because we didn't have the money coming in. We had to change things. I don't know. We might never know. So
but the thing is that they did great recruitment for a while, and then they misjudged a certain period of time. And I don't know if, like you said, if there was money available, or if they just waited to sell someone to be able to buy, or if it wasn't happening anyway. But we done great recruitments in terms of players that have, like I said before, talent and in long terms as well. But then they misjudged a period of time when we need to replace like Gini Wijnaldum and other things like that. So, they are not, without any wrongs, but I still think they are better off than many others.
Yeah, I think, that's going to be interesting what happens, like whenever, mentioning earlier, like when it's going to happen, we don't know, but it's definitely going to be interesting when it does happen. Dom says they've been incredible owners. If they get investment, I will be made up. That would allow the investment on the pitch. And then just last couple, Lee says this club has done so much for things like rainbow laces. What would that be if we were owned by people who are intrinsically anti-LGBT? Yeah,
I can't even think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we're on half an hour here, and we want to get into Derby and talk about someone kicking a footy round. But last thing, Anne says, did you see Paul and Redman on the overlap? Said it would be a bit awkward if State took over with our city being socialist. Yeah. Yep, exactly. And then Stephen Foy is in. Nice one, Stephen, for jumping in. Right, you might be pleased or you might be sad to know that we're going to move on to some footy now. But before I do that, I just want to give a shout out to we've recently partnered with Jack Design. So if you want to go and help us out and help Jack out, then you can just head over to you can see the ticket at the bottom if you're watching. If you're listening, I'll read it out for you. It's jackdesign.uk/shop, and you look whatever you want. There's loads of boss stuff: calendars, t-shirts, jumpers, prints, everything. There's everything on there. Christmas stuff with Christmas coming up, and if you get to the end and you've got about 50 quid in your basket, enter the code COPI10 and you'll get 10% off. So you'll get a $5 off if you spend 50 quid. So if you're going to spend your money elsewhere, then on something similar, then if you go and use that website, you can help us. You can help Jack as well, who's a great lad. Great, goes every game. Big red. So if you help us and help him, that would be boss as well. But yeah, let's get into. Seems like a bit of an anticlimax, but let's get into Derby. Derby is how long away? 3.5 hours.
Oh,
it is, isn't it? That's right. Yeah, I've got a screenshot. I mean, I usually do like screenshots of like the previous results, and I've got one, but it doesn't hold as much value when it's a club like Derby, and that's not a slight on Derby. Just means we don't play them that often. The last game was in 2016. We beat them 3-0. And actually, I've got a quiz question for you because I've just been looking at the goal scorers in this game, and people can jump along in the comments as well. Do you know the three? What?
Haven't we played them after that?
Not according to the live score.
I just got a feeling that we have, but I might be wrong. Let people in the comments can just let us know if that's wrong from me or whatever. I just got this feeling that we have, but anyway. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so we'll go from that game. So the 2016 game, we beat them 3-0. Do you know who the 3 goal scorers are?
Oh,
or give me one.
That's like ages ago. Sorry, again.
If you can get any of the goal scorers and see if anyone in the comments can help Kristian out.
from that game 2016.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is good.
I don't know. It's just you
blanked.
It feels like ages ago, and there's so many things have happened since then. But 2016. Nah, just go on.
Stephen says Lucas Leiva. Nah, it wasn't Lucas.
One of my favorites.
Lucas Leiva, what a guy. Do you want me to tell you what it was?
Yeah, just go.
So the opening goal was scored by none other than Ragnar Klavan. Coutinho got the second in the second half, and then Origi.
I was going to say Coutinho, though, but I didn't know the other ones. I just going to go and chance with Coutinho, but I didn't have the courage to do it.
Yeah, I think that anyone in the comments, like, I think that was the last time we played. Just going on, I just looked on Live Score again. That's they say that's the last time we played them. But when I was looking at it, I thought the same as you, Kristian. I was like, I'm sure we've played them after that. But yeah, it's been like what 6 years since we last played them. I'll just get that screenshot back up just because I didn't go through the rest and that. Let's have a look. 2007 beat them 2-1. That was the day Fernando Torres megged Darren Moore and just scored a belter. That was just absolutely chef's kiss. Amazing goal. Bat them 6-0 at home. And then, you're going back to 2002, beat them 2-0. So not that many in recent history. But yeah, in terms of like lineups then, because people are saying in the comments, there's been a few. Aiden says, team-wise for tonight, Kelleher, Ramsey, Gomez, Phillips, Simicas, Bacetic, Jones, Clark, Ox, Carvalho, and Nunes or Dowak. There's what type of lineup are you thinking for this one? I think it'll be quite similar to the one Aiden's just said, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we should rest as many like starting players, if you like, for the game against Southampton to make sure we actually win that and get 3 points before the World Cup break. So I don't mind us to actually go with as many reserves or youngsters. So I like that Aiden says there. I'm really looking forward to be able to see Ramsey because obviously we haven't seen him much. He's been injured since he arrived. So everyone was talking about that. He's been really good. He scored a few goals for under 20s or whatever it is. I can't remember who it is. I always refer to the reserves.
just the youngsters, innit? And he came on in the what was it, the Napoli game, was it? He came on towards the end. What game? He came on at the end of one game.
Yeah. But just to actually see him from start and see what he can do. And I would love to see how did we say his name? Dowak? Or Doak?
Doak. Yeah, well, I said Doak, and then Doug in the comments was like, it's Doak. But
yeah, because he just looks amazing as a young player, as many do. But I just think he's got something special. I would love to see him as well, and Bajcetic as well, because he's he's already been involved in the first game. Yeah, I think he's he's only 17 or something, but he's got something. So that would be great. Clark also, he was brought in from, was it Newcastle? From their academy. I think great prospect as well, of what I've read and some parts that I've seen as well. So I really like to see the youngsters that can actually come in and do something special here. I just think it's sad that it seems like Gordon is out, isn't he? Is he?
I think
he played for a while, and he was really, really good when he came to us in the first place.
I think he's still injured, unfortunately, because he done well, didn't he? He played against Arsenal at the Emirates, and that was a massive moment. Like the fact that he was played on the right ahead of Salah, and that was like an amazing vote of confidence for him. But I'm just gonna go through these because people have been throwing in shouts for the quiz question. Sorry, I missed them. Lucas Lovren, JJ got Origi, Ant got Origi. Stephen Foy says Raggy. Aiden says Kavlan Origi. Did we not play them in the FA Cup? Did we play them in the FA Cup?
That's what I just get some memories. I even get this feeling that Gordon scored, but it might not have been against Derby.
I don't know, because I usually look on a certain website, and the website wasn't giving me the list for the derby games, but yeah, let's just go with that for now. I'll have a look later. So apologies if that's not the right answer. And then Anne says that 2-1 I was mentioning 2007. Gerrard scored. Yeah, Gerrard last minute or something, wasn't it? But the Torres goal was early on, which was just peak Fernando Torres. Dom says you'd go with Kelleher, Ramsey, Gomez, Phillips, Simicas, Bajcetic, Jones, and Ox, and then Carvalho, Dowach, and Bobby.
Yeah.
Says I just want Bobby to pick him up the World Cup squad with a shot of his confidence. Yeah, we haven't had a chance to discuss that. Yeah, that was a massive. I mean, Firmino put up like a tweet on. Sorry, not a tweet, and an Instagram post on the back of that, and he was basically just saying he's gutted that he's not going and whatever. But that's especially the age that he is. I mean, he still might be able to get in the next one because like Dani Alves is in there, but it just depends. Like a striker who's going to be like probably 35 in the next one. It's going to be difficult. Isn't it? The shame, isn't it? He's been got like good goal scoring this year. Like I think we've said before, like he's not the same player in terms of like linking up play and whatever else, and that's a shame. But the goal scoring aspect has been there, so he's done well, hasn't he? That is a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel for him because he's showed in the Premier League so far this season that he's got this like form back and his goal scoring like going again because before he didn't score as many goals, but he was really important to the way we played anyway. But now he's actually scoring goals and he had a good season. And yes, he's getting older, but I actually thought that he was going to be picked for the World Cup because he's just a experienced player who can play in a little bit of different positions. He can play as a striker, he can play in the hole behind the striker. He's one of them who actually always put a shift in. He works hard. He's got great skills. He's creative and all that. So I just thought he's one kind of player that you really want in your squad anyway, just to be able to have some options. But if you pick Richarlison, who hasn't scored a goal or even an assist or whatever, and he's been injured and all that ahead of him, then it says something as well. So I just feel for him. I thought he was just going to be in that squad.
Yeah, I know it's a shame, but then at least he's gets to stay at the AXA and hopefully get some rest in the legs as well. So that might help him as well. So, but yeah, if you're still watching live, we still got like 19 in the live on YouTube, which is boss. So yeah, if you're watching now, then please do like. While Kristian has another sip of his bevy. Any other team predictions or score predictions, which we'll get to, just throw them in the comments and I'll go through them all, definitely. Actually, this one from Anne says, I'd start Nunes, but to hopefully get on the score sheet for a confidence boost. And Dom says, Nunes doesn't need any more boost, and he's a fucking lunatic. He's confident as hell. Yeah, what a Darwin Nunes, man. I don't think he'll play tonight, to be fair. I think he'll probably have a rest, but what a guy he is. Like the Spurs game was just mental. Like the way got an assist, his first touch is sometimes amazing, and sometimes he was nearly falling over the ball. It's just like I love it. I just think he's gonna be so good for us. And then
it's entertainment in one way. Like even if you want it to always be spot on with the whatever he does, but that's entertaining. It's entertaining to see that though. Like it always happening something, and that's always good, obviously. And he's always, like we said before, goal scoring positions. He's chaos for the defenders. I just love him. I just love the way he does things.
It's just like you said. It's just proper box office, isn't it? And like the whole. And it's even sweeter because the whole like came in and he was like, people were clipping stuff from training, like misses and all that, and you're just like fucking hell. And then like he starts scoring goals, and then the people like the platforms that were like, oh, Nunes looks like a flop, are now saying, oh, Nunes is a bit chaotic, isn't he? But he's good. It's like, so you change your tune, fucking hell. There's a few goals, and like just switch opinions like that. Hilarious. Stephen Foy says Bajcetic looks a proper talent. Yeah, he does. He looks really, really good.
Apparently, Thiago's dad and his dad played together in Celta Vigo or whatever.
That's amazing, isn't it? I seen what a stat that. I don't know who put that up, but that was an amazing stat.
Yeah.
I think for Valencia, wasn't it? Both of their dads played together, wasn't it? Something like that?
Or if it was a little bit late in like Celta Vigo or something, I read.
Celta Vigo.
So it might
that's
have
the one.
been,
Yeah.
because Thiago's dad obviously won the World Cup '94 with Brazil. Because he's Brazilian.
That's a good one, that. Especially the last game when Thiago came off and Batchitich came on. I was like, I was thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yuki says, would love to see Doak tonight. She's still here, but working, doing emails. Oh, enjoy.
It must
Enjoy.
be, now it's like, late afternoon here, early evening, but it must be like morning in, is it California
Cali.
you are?
Cali,
Yeah.
so 5 hours behind Yuki, is that right? So we're nearly 5, so it'll be nearly 1 there.
Okay,
so
midday.
Still working.
Yeah.
Dom says Gordon is out till January with hip growing problems, which is a shame. But we've got enough good youngsters to kind of come in and hopefully get the chance. Stephen says, I love the no fear factor with the youngsters when they come in. Panovscout says, our game isn't televised tonight, is it? I don't think it is, actually. I'm not sure. It will be on your side, the well-known Kristian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you get all the games. You just have to pay for it, though.
Yeah, but we don't like all of the English games. It's the most difficult in England to watch them.
I know.
Just hilarious.
I know. I know. When I lived in England, it was always when you couldn't go the game yourself, or it was an away game, or but it was always a hassle to just try to sort it. So
I know. Dom says we signed them from Derby. That'll be the mix-up. Yeah, that could be That could be what you're thinking of. Stephen says, don't get why Bobby hasn't been picked. Just bizarre. Panovscout agrees, saying poor Bobby deserved one last chance. What else have we got? Aiden says, crazy Bobby not going. Good for Liverpool, but gutted for Bobby as well. JJ says, congrats on the Spotify ratings. Went up 88 places in the Norwegian charts. Love that.
Which is weird because people must mistake me as Norwegian.
And is that like a major insult as well?
No. I wouldn't say we won't get we raise like that because some Swedish in the Swedish charts, but it's just weird. I would like to know why. Might just like us, but it's just in Norway in that way. It's just that's okay, good.
Well, maybe they just they liked that pod before you came along, and they were like, "Oh, they've got a Swedish fella now, so we'll
all just laugh at him."
Yeah, listen to this fella talk about Liverpool. It's funny. Panovscout says, "Is that a nice Chianti? What you've got? It's a beer, isn't it? You've got."
Yeah, that's the. It's a Swedish one. It's called Falcon. That's the one I talked to you.
Oh,
Nick,
Falcon.
about.
Yeah.
So
I've not heard of that one, but
no, it's a Swedish brewery, in Sweden. So I don't think it's actually overseas anywhere. I don't think so. But
there you go, Panovscout. You'll have to get Kristian to box you off some and send them over. Score predictions. What are we thinking, Kristian? I'll have a look what we've got in the comments first. Aiden says 3-1 to the Reds. We've got Sabambs. Fucking hell, that was hard to say. Nice one for jumping in. I don't think I've seen you in the comments before, but nice one for jumping in. 4-1 Liverpool. What are you thinking, Kristian? Before, if everyone wants to get the comments in with the score predictions, that'd be boss as well.
I was actually going to say 3-1 because okay, it's Derby, and we might just have an unexperienced team with loads of youngsters, but they still do the job. And I was thinking 4-1 might be a little bit too much. I don't know. It might be more, but my feeling is 3-1.
3-1. I'll take a 3-0. I'll take a 3-0. Kelleher's going to be back in. It'd be nice to see him back after him being injured. Obviously, this is our first game defending the Carabao, the best trophy in the world, and all that.
Carabao,
so Kelleher's back. Obviously, he won it. So be nice to see him back in. JJ says 17-0. I'll take a 17-0 to be fair. And Yuki says 8:45 in California. 8:45. Fucking hell, I was well wrong. Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I said. Morning. I got. I see I know my maps, my world map.
Your world map is well more sorted than mine. Sab Snab says Kelleher, Ramsey, Phillips, Gomez, Simicast, Batchitich, Hendo, Ox, Carvalho, Doak, Cannonier. Oh, I want to see Cannonier as well. I don't know if he's injured at the minute, but
That's what I was thinking as well. When will he get the chance? Because he's just scoring loads of goals. But if he's injured, then obviously that's a problem. But I just, when you see the stats always, and you just read through about, who scored for the reserves or whatever, it's always like, just come on,
Cannonier.
just get him in.
It's like 1-0 Cannonier, 1-0 Cannonier, 2-0 Cannonier, and you're like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I think he's just so determined to not be the ball boy guy for Trent, because he was the kid that threw the ball to Trent. So I think he's so desperate to not be that. He's just fucking well, fuck it, I'll score loads of goals instead then. Stephen says, be nice to see if Mushilovsky gets a chance tonight unless he's injured. I don't know if he's injured, but he looks like another talented player, but just like, I think he might be injured, to be honest.
How old is he? Like 17, 18 or?
Mushilovsky, if anyone in the comments can
Polish Messi, isn't it?
Polish Messi, apparently.
No, but the thing is, like, if we got loads of those talents, like, people talking loads about them, when will they have the chance to actually show themselves? If not against Derby in the Carabao Cup, even if we always want to progress and win everything, I would love to see, them play, even if that means some more experienced players are actually not playing. Like, I know there's always a balance and stuff, but there's some players that you really want to see on the big stage because for them it is a big stage, the biggest stage, and play at Anfield in front of a crowd, and everyone's been talking about them loads as well. So if not now, when? So yeah, if they're not injured, just bring them on.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love it. I mean, I've just saw a few like potentially leaked team news floating around, which apparently Keller had in goal, Ramsey, Phillips, Gomez, Tsimikas, and then a midfield three of Bajcetic, Ox and Clark, and then a front three of Frauendorf, Stewart and Carvalho. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the right one, obviously, or not, but that's another one that's been floating around. So a lot of youth in there. So it's going to, I mean, especially at Anfield, like it's going to be a special night for some of them as well. So Stephen says 4-0 to the Reds. Yuki says 4-0 to the Reds. Just a question for you from Ant. He asks, do you know the Dalia Kalia Cup Kristian played in Sweden? I went over there with the footy team and won it.
I recognize it. I can't say that I know much about it, but I definitely recognize the name. I will look it up and probably might know a bit more then. It might be that I just know, but I just don't recognize the name. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
Nice. Does he know where it's played? Like in a certain area or whatever? It's just another question.
Yeah. If you can give us that on, then Kristian might know. Panavscal says, isn't it pronounced Doak, like the oak tree? See, this is what I thought, right? And I was calling him Doak for fucking every time. And then Doug, who's from Scotland, came in the comments and was like, it's Doak. So I've just been going with that. But I do prefer Doak, to be fair. Doak does sound better.
Easier.
Easier, yeah. Doak just sounds a bit shit, doesn't it? Stephen says Mushilovsky is 19. Ant says Newcastle set to host Saudi Arabia national team. Honestly, no, not state-owned, no. Lee says hope Klopp doesn't risk the tie by playing too much youth. Yeah, I think that's a point, isn't it? Because we want a nice blend of both, don't we? So if we go Keller in goal, Ramsey, Phillips, Gomez, Costas, that's a good enough back five, isn't it? I think anyway. Keller has proved how good he is. Ramsey, we've only seen bits of him, so we don't know. But Klopp signed him, like, so he's obviously decent. We know what Phillips is about. We know what Gomez is about. We know Tsimikas is boss as well. Yeah. But it's so the midfield. If the midfield is like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Bajcetic, who we know is good and a good prospect as well. Clark, like you said, and then the front three of then if that'll be the only thing for me. If the front three is Frauendorf, Stewart, and Carvalho, that would be a great opportunity for them. But it might be maybe a little bit too weak. I don't know. But Sab Snab says we need to play Hendo or Milner if fit for experience. Good vibe.
I think Milner might be involved, to be honest.
I think Klopp said he can't though. Oh no, sorry.
Ah.
Pep Linders said he can't. He's not quite ready apparently.
Okay, so it was a little bit worse than we thought. Okay.
I just think he said he'd be fine for Southampton. He just won't be ready for.
All right, I didn't hear
this
that
one.
part. Yeah.
Answers the trophy is a horse played on grass park. Multiple games going on.
Yeah, I just checked it out now, and I've heard of it, and I know where it is. So
is it nearby?
No. Well, yeah, yes. It's still.
But you know what? This is what's funny though, because I didn't obviously getting to know Kristian and whatever, and I was just looking on Google Maps at Sweden, and I was like, wow, it is fucking massive. I couldn't believe. Don't realize until you just probably just me being ignorant about other European countries, but I just didn't realize how massive it is.
It's closer. It's closer to me now than it's ever been where I lived in Sweden. So it's a few hours away from where I live now. But I've been around the areas before, but not as much. But yeah, it seems like when I looked at it now, it's like a nice, quite big cup going on with different teams coming over. It's a nice one.
Sounds good, that. Just last couple before we wrap up. Lee says Hender will play, I think, and then says Milner's out.
Yeah.
I think we've done. There's loads of comments that I don't know if I've got to them. I always try and read them all, but I don't think I got to all of them. So I'm sorry if I didn't. But yeah, Ant said, wondered if Cannoneer lad is fit, been scoring goals for fun under 19s. Yeah, just what a guy. So I'm saying 3-0. You said what? 3-1? Did you say?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Wayne Rooney was good for them. No, I'm just joking. I know he's obviously somewhere else in the States or whatever. I just thought, it's funny because he was there and he made really great, with them considering they were having minus points or whatever it was. But yeah.
Yeah, Rooney. Oh my God. Apparently he was meant to play at a Sunday league in Liverpool last week. He was meant to make a 30-minute appearance for a Sunday league team,
right?
And I know a few of the lads that play for that team, and he didn't turn up. I was like, oh fucking hell, gutted. Just quickly, Snab says I saw Mane's out the World Cup. Yeah, that is fucking hell. It's one of those things, and having a World Cup in the
exactly
in the way that we are, it's bound to happen, isn't it?
And there's loads of profile players actually out, players that you knew were going to play for the countries, but they're actually out with this little small, might not be serious injuries, but there's still injuries that will, keep them out for a month or whatever. And that's it. Then, can't go. So yeah, it's hopefully that will, learn FIFA lesson just to put it in the summer as it's always been and, stop with this shit.
Stephen says, great lesson, lads. Up the fucking Reds. Panoscal says, big up, fellas. Great stream as always. 3-0 to us. Yeah, nice one, everyone. Been boss that. Liam Smith plays Sunday League. Yeah, yeah. I think Neil Jones as well plays for Bootle or something, doesn't he? And I need to go down and watch Neil actually one time. Yeah, let's leave it there because we've covered a load of stuff there. 52 minutes. I always say we need to aim for it half an hour or 40 minutes, and we end up because everyone in the comments is class. So if you're watching not live, unlive, I don't know what the opposite to live is.
And I can't stop talking about stuff. So
well, that doesn't help. Yeah, if you're we always do mostly we do these shows live. So if you are watching it later on or whatever, or you're listening on Spotify or whatever, then if you do want to get involved, then just search Copy Podcast on YouTube and you can have a chat with us and we'll look at your comment. Panovscout says dead. What? Who's dead? I hope no one's dead. Right, nice one, everyone. That's been boss. Just last little shout out for Jack Design. If you haven't seen, we're now partner with Jack Design. So go over to jackdesign.uk/shop, use the code COPI10 and get 10% off. I need to make a video to show all the boss stuff, but if you want to look at the website, then you can feel free to do that. And if you haven't opposite to live, oh my God, how did I not get onto that? Panic Scout was just
that was fun.
That's a perfect way to end. Lee says, thanks, all, you never walk alone. I done it just last shout out for done an interview with Dave Critchley the other day. Scout chef, just talked about FSG, cooking, being on Paddy the Baddies podcast, his work, being a chef, Luban in town.
I think I've never been there. What kind of food is it? I obviously, because I recognize the name, but I just, I'm not sure I've ever been. So
yeah, it's only like you only started it like just after or just before lockdown, the first lockdown.
So that's probably.
But yeah. I haven't been yet. I said to him like I'm gonna have to go down. But like just he was on Paddy's podcast and Paddy was just like, oh lad, this food's amazing and whatever, like Chinese food, and it's like proper authentic Chinese food that he's learned when he's been over in China and stuff. So yeah, I need to get myself down there. But I had a great chat with Dave. If you haven't watched or listened to that yet, then you can find it on the channel or find it on Spotify or Apple or whatever. Then yeah, if you want to go and have a listen or watch that, then that'll be great as well. Nice one. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Liverpool are playing very soon, so we need to let you get out of here and crack on with the rest of your night. But we do appreciate you watching because there's still 15 of you in there live, which is good for us, a smallish channel. Snab says watch along. Oh, I don't know about a watch along, maybe one day, but I don't know. Maybe soon. We might have to be convinced on that. Aidan says, great listen, guys, up the Reds. Yeah, appreciate it, everyone. We're definitely getting out of here now. But yeah, if you're watching live, do like and subscribe. If you're watching later, do the same if you wouldn't mind, please. And then if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, then leave us a rating on there.
And we might be back on Friday doing live together. See?
Yeah, so Kristian's over on Friday, so we'll be together in the same room having a few bevies and doing a live, which might be funny. I reckon it'll be funny because if Kristian keeps drinking and I keep drinking, then we're just FSG chat will be a lot more violent, I reckon. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, appreciate it, everyone. Nice one. And we'll see you all very soon. Up the Reds.